All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I am Chris C., and that is my fellow cohort over there you see on my right. That is Darren from Subjective Perspective Collective. We're doing Giallo Rex episode 3. How you doing there, Darren?
Not too bad, not too bad. Braving the old weather again still. But
yes.
Yeah, all good. Always up for like talking about Giallo films, as you know, so this should be a good one.
Yeah, this is definitely a good one. These were great recommendations that you all recommended for me to watch. These are all first-time watches for me, so this is how this works a bit. If you haven't watched this before, he picks 3 Giallos that I have not seen. If I have them in my collection or I can see them on streaming or whatever like that, and I check them out, I watch them, and then we both give our kind of perspective on the whole thing and review and, tell you what I think of them. So we're going to be using... We're going to be reviewing these 3 bad boys here. All these, I was talking to you on Instagram about it. All these are bangers, really, to me. I had to marathon these. I watched 2 of these last night and watched the 3rd one this morning. So we're going to be talking about the Bloodstained Butterfly. There's a great Arrow release. This is very good. I got this off of Hamilton Books. It was pretty cheap for this. You get loaded with special features with this. Yeah. Very good. We're also talking about the Bloodstained Shadow from the Forgotten Gialli volume, was it 6? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Great sets from Vinegar Syndrome. Definitely worth it reviewing that one. And last but definitely not least, a Ruggiero Deodato film, and that's Off Balance. Great interview with him, one of the last ones he did. These Italian directors, they're different type of cats. I get it. These dudes are savages. He doesn't think too highly of his later films. I do like this film a lot, though, as well. We're going to be talking about that one.
Absolutely, yeah.
Darren, just your overall thoughts on these films that we're going to be talking about.
So, yeah. So the reason I picked these 3, obviously, for obvious reasons that I love all three, all to different degrees, you know. But I mean, you've got the Bloodstained Butterfly, which is pretty much, you know, like a solid kind of early 70s, you know exactly that kind of era with, you know, Birth with the crystal plumage and that type style film. But then I thought, we'll put it on then, you know, another what, 7-8 years. So we got 1978's The Bloodstained Shadow, which is very Argento-like, and we'll come into that a bit more. And then again, another 10 years later, so I thought it'd be a bit different, you know, Phantom of Death, Off Balance, Diodato, I mean, what's not to love there? So I think, yeah, I figured you would like all these anyway, to some degree, like.
Really, you would think Off Balance would be more of a slasher, but it's literally Diodato's like only giallo film he's ever done. He ever
Well,
done.
he's done a few, like, well, I mean, like the
Excuse
washing
me, he
machine.
has.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
he's
washing
done that.
machine you could call a
He also
giallo.
did, like I say, this one. This is a good release from Cauldron Films. This is a good release. They've also released City of Living Dead. They released that
Yeah.
one, but it's off of a Diabolic DVD. Jesse Nielsen has part in this. Great interview with him on here. One of the last ones he did. It's very good. He talks about, of course, mostly all of his films. He did mention that he did some stuff like in the late 60s or what have you. He's done stuff before comedies. He mentioned one thing about comedies too. Comedians they just do their own thing. You can't really tell them what to do. So it's a great interview with him on that, and of course it has the trailers, and we're going to get to that film. But just a quick thing of why I love this genre. That's why I do this series and stuff like that and other things. I've been into giallo for a few years, and it's really, it separates itself from all different types of cinema to me. It's different. Everything is basically a proto slasher to me in these films, but there's a sexiness to it. There's a darkness to it. There's a mystery, different settings, different parts of the country, right? It's international. It's not just the campy slashers and all this other stuff too. It separates its stuff. There are a lot of genre films and stuff like that. People like talking about insecure, lonely men. You look at every giallo basically made, a lot of the dudes in those are insecure, lonely men. Very good looking, lonely men that have issues and betrayal and all this other stuff. You can't trust anybody. It's a whodunit. All goes back to the creamy novels, as you, Dirk, are going to be talking about soon. And it's just a great genre. I love it. It's probably one of my favorite genres in cinema now, so I'm very impressed.
Exactly the same for me, really. I mean, you put the music in there as well. It takes the films to a different level. You've got the murder mystery, the sleaziness, and all that. But these films, you can't, you've got to pay attention to a lot of these films, for little details. And what I like about them as well is like some of the plot twists and discoveries of killers and all is so outlandish. It's like it just draws you in, and I'm like you. I'm forever hooked now. Till the day I die, I'll be watching these films.
Just creative kills, the POV shots, just everything is so proto like horror. There's a horror to it. There's a sadisticness to it. There's a serial killer thing to them. They call them sex maniacs for a reason. It's really it's just great stuff. And I just
the
love
whole
talking
settings as well. So you've got a lot of the settings are in Italy, obviously. You've got Venice, you've got Rome. I mean, Turin, a lot of Argento films were filmed. Outstanding, just visually. I think they're the best. They're better than any film, I think, visually.
It's very, very cool.
Ever,
like I say, the films that we're talking about are all in a similar city you mentioned as well. And that's very cool, which I didn't realize that, other than a couple of the names being correct with the Bloodstain this and the Bloodstain that. But a lot of them, and like you say, those watery, nice areas like, Don't Look Now and places like that, right? You have the boats that'll take you places, a lot of
Exactly.
walking around here. I've always liked that about these films, have that too. A lot of walking around. You see the scenery, you see everywhere these crevices and all this other stuff, these cities that are like just here, and it's like people all looking at you funny and, it's very, very cool.
I mean, they're just like another character to the films. Like Venice plays a big part in two of these. And what I love, like this, so Don't Look Now, you've got Venice where it's very sunny and, I think it was probably shot obviously in the summer. But what I like about the Bloodstained Shadow is it's very dreary. You get like a real look of Venice in the winter time, which is completely different to what, you usually see. But again, well, I don't want to jump the gun too much.
Yeah, it's kind
But
of Fulci like with Don't Torture a Duckling. You have that gothic feel to it, like the rain when it gets dark and it starts raining. There's something about scenes in films in Giallos like that, where it's in the rain, right? Everything's all wet and stuff like that, and blood washes away the water, and it's just like it's very cool kind of.
That's what I like about these. Like you say, there's always like a rainstorm, 5 minutes away if you're watching any of these films. The atmosphere, yeah. I've always liked, even in normal contemporary films, when you got a rainstorm or a normal horror film, should say, I've always liked that kind of atmosphere where, you've got a killer stalking,
Yeah,
you've got the
absolutely.
rain
Yeah.
coming down, and yeah, I love it.
A raincoat or what have you. So we're
Yeah,
going ahead and we'll get started here with the first one he picked from me from 1971. Duccio Tessari's The Bloodstained Butterfly. Go ahead and take it away, Darren. First, your overall thoughts on this film and, just the cast and who's all involved in it.
Yeah, absolutely. So this one has always been like a favorite of mine. I got to see this. It must have been may have been before the Arrow release. I'm not sure, but there was a bootleg floating around, or there was like an out of print DVD. Always liked it. In terms of the cast, you've got Helmut Berger. He was a very kind of famous, striking looking man, actually. I think he was a gay man at the time, so that he was quite unusual in that regard. You've got Silvano Tranquilli. He plays the detective or the inspector. He shows up in all these Giallo films. He's in
He does. He
anything
looks
and everything.
familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. You've got Gunter Stahl, who's in a lot of the old German crimies as well. But I don't know if you want me to just go through a little bit of the plot or what I have.
Yeah, just go through. Yeah, of course. Go ahead, Darren.
So you've got this young woman. She gets murdered in this park during this rainstorm at the start. You've got Alexandro Macchi. He's like this TV sports presenter, and he becomes a chief suspect. But
has a toupee.
He has a toupee, yeah. But what kind of flips the film on its head is when he's actually in jail, or another murder happens. So then you've got the big trial. Again, I don't want to jump too far into it, but you've got the whole trial aspect, which is completely different to any other Giallo I've ever seen.
Yeah. That's why it reminds me of Law and Order with that whole aspect, right? Where they go through everything with like the detectives and stuff, where they reenact scenes to see if one of the witnesses, which that's a trippy scene, where one of the witnesses is making love to a dude in this car.
Yeah.
And she honks her horn. You see the killer turn, and then the killer leaves. He's wearing like a raincoat type thing and top hat, fedora, whatever you may want to call it. It's just her that they talk to. They don't talk to the dude that was with her in the car, I don't believe. Right. Yeah, that kind of like put me off a little bit. I do love the opening to this. It's a long opening, which is cool. They introduce all the characters. You don't see that in a lot of Giallos. Mario Bava, of course, did that in Blood and Black Lace, which is my all-time favorite Giallo. They introduce the characters like it's a soap opera or a play. Yeah. And they do it here, too, where it's a long sequence because it's this package that the one dude has. And then it's given to like her, I believe, or something like that, where it shows it from different aspects of what's going on. It's like so-and-so is this, so-and-so is that. So I like that. So it leads up to the events of that murder of that woman.
Oh god, absolutely. It's so good, that opening as well, because we think that we know straight away who the killer is. And like I said, that kind of plot point that comes a little bit later on, and it completely throws you 180. But the way, the whole conclusion to this as well, the way it's done is just so good, man. Um,
It's really good. Like I say, this is 71. With the Crystal Plumage came out in 71. I
I
think,
mean, you
right?
got Cat the Nine Tails, so this is kind of jumping on the bandwagon of having the
The
Bloodstained
fifth
Butterfly
chord.
in the title.
So it's
Yeah.
in that just boom where you got just these from your directors. It's like anything you can do, I can do better.
No,
And
absolutely. It holds its own against those films as well. I actually prefer this one to Cat and Nine Tails, which might be, some people might think, what the
I do
hell? But
too. That's a
yeah.
good observation. Give the devil his due. Dario Argento, you give the devil his due, man. Like you say, he's like, okay, here you go. That's a template to what we get.
Oh yeah,
Just
yeah.
with the mentioning too, like you say, because it's he has a family. He's married. He's married to his wife is the actress Evelyn Stewart, and I'm like, yeah, that's her. And then they also have a daughter, and that's where it gets interesting with the whole family dynamic as well. And their good family friend is a lawyer, believe it or not. So that makes it very
Oh yeah, he's
interesting
a
because he's
scumbag,
the
isn't
one.
he? Yeah.
He's his defense lawyer, and that's a good actor too. What's his name who plays the defense
That's
lawyer in that?
Gunter Stahl, and yeah, it's a great it's a great character. He plays this scumbag lawyer who's he's trying to get the case outcome of the case to go in his favor, if you know what I mean. Um, yeah, like all the members of the cast you just said there, you've got Sarah, the daughter, played by Wendy the Olive. She was in Giallo, The Dead or Alive.
Okay.
Crispino's Jolly. And you got Lorella De Luca, who actually was Duccio Tesari's wife at the time, or girlfriend. So she stars in this as well. I do want to mention the director did do a couple of other Jolly films, which I highly rate and
Okay.
recommend, and that's Puzzle from 1974.
You've all
So
mentioned
if
that
you want,
before. Yeah.
if you want to see a Giallo with a chainsaw fight, then that could be the one for you.
Nice.
And Death Occurred Last Night, which is kind of like in the same vein as maybe What Have You Done to Solange or something like that. Something like, I won't give too much away with that one. But yeah, so this director knows what he's doing. He's very accomplished in all different genres too.
Yeah, and then just basically, like I say, starts out. It starts out like this woman. She's getting ready to go on the bus, but she recognizes somebody, and she gets a ride from them. They go to this park area. There's an argument that ensues, and like the fifth chord, it's done in like a public like park type area and stuff like that, and right next to a
Yeah,
tree and stuff like that. And he straight up stabs her. The killer just straight up stabs her and stuff like that. And that's when just the forensic work and everything that they do. Like I say, this one right here, like I say, is one of a kind. This is
yeah,
this is one of the only ones I've seen work done like that, like literally like a thing of Law and Order. They do not fingerprints, but like almost like fake blood tests, but
right,
they're
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to, just trying to find this stuff with newspapers and all this other stuff going on. It's done really well. Just through like the part with everybody, with them talking to Darren about this, the the head of the investigation and his partner gives him coffee all the time and he doesn't like it. It's either too much sugar or it's cold, and he just takes it, he stirs it, and he just drinks it himself. I'm like, oh, okay. There's a flashback scene with the accused, the sports reporter, and you find out a little bit about that because his daughter and the dead girl were friends, and
Yeah, yeah,
they showed him like a sleepover and stuff like that too, where it's a little bit creepy, where the daughter's sitting on the dad's lap and just kissing him
yeah.
goodnight and all this other stuff too. Goes up to the friend, the defense lawyer, and stuff like that, and something's going on because you see the look on his face. He's this, he's a shady piece of shit, and you know what he's thinking about doing and stuff like that. And you see the desperate housewife just kind of sitting there and just letting it all unfold in front of her.
I think every man in this film is kind of sleazy in a way, or there's something
Yeah.
wrong, you know. So even if you're not sleazy, you're some kind of murderer or what have you. But no, I think it's really done well, that Alessandro Macchi character, because he's played superbly, I think. So I gotta say, Giancarlo Sabranga, I can never like pronounce it. He was in Highway Racer 1977, Death Race.
That was him. That was him. That was
Yeah.
him. I kind of figured he looked really, really familiar. Okay.
He was in a good one called No Way Out as well. Like an early Italian, like a crime, I would say, kind of. You know, I don't know whether it may have Giallo elements, but no, he's superb in that role. But I think they all kind of, you know, everyone really does well in this. Helmut Berger is just another completely fucking, like, how would you call his character? Because he's just completely, he plays a drunken, he's completely off, you know, going off the rails. He's
That's
very
the
sexually,
aristocrat, isn't it? Yeah, the aristocrat that inherited all the money from his uncle. He has an interesting conversation with his father.
yeah.
It almost reminds me of Hatchet for the Honeymoon, with that character and him kind of being conflicted over something. It's like, yeah, my uncle gave me everything. That's the difference. You know, these conversations with the dad. It's like, yeah, this was all given to me and blah, blah, blah. I don't need it. Typical in a Giallo film with these dudes. So I get that. You know,
and there's a lot of concert pianists as well in these films. Have you noticed?
and playing the piano, all that stuff
Yeah,
too.
you've got like
The old school record players or whatever they are. He like goes and starts playing music. He gets in a relationship with the reporter's daughter. Just like kind of that, like they know each other. There's an interesting conversation where they have to go their separate ways for a second. She has to go do something. They separate, and it's like, oh, look at this church, and they're kind of talking about it. I always like scenes like that where they're like in different sides.
Right.
You know, I thought that was very cool. It's very interesting dynamic between all the characters that comes to light later on in this film.
You know, early on that something's off with this kind of character, but he ends up, he's like sexually aggressive, and he to the young
Right, they have
girl.
a love-making scene and stuff like that too, and
Yeah.
he's thinking of something. Well, they do a couple of flashbacks. That's what a few of these films have in all these films have in common. They do flashbacks to certain scenes and how this stuff comes to unfold. This one does it the most less out of everything, which I like about it, Bloodstained Butterfly, because there's a scene where he walks around a lot in this film too. He goes past like a jewelry store.
Right. Yeah.
You know, he sees the dude just setting everything up there in the window and stuff like that, just nods to him, say what's hi and stuff like that. And you see a butterfly brooch there. And I'm like, oh, okay. So there's where they get the idea. And then they just kind of leave it at that. These other murders start happening. You figure out, the trial happens and all this other stuff too. The thing is, there was another witness that could vouch for him, but she is not there. She's in another country, and the defense lawyer does a good job here. Of course he does. He's like, can you say it was him? Can you say it's whatever like that? But they convict him anyway, and then he gets put in prison. That's when you figure out the shady defense lawyer is sleeping with the wife.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
sleeping with the wife, being a shady piece of shit. The daughter knows about it. They have dinner or something like that too.
Even though
she knows, it's like, you're no better than I am, you know? Yeah. So other stuff kind of going on. Like I say, there's other killings that happen here. There's one where the defense lawyer's going out. He gets a cigarette from those cigarette vending machines. There happens to be a woman next to him who he gives the cigarette pack to. That's where it kind of, you're like, whoa, wait a minute. She ends up dead. It's like, oh, look, it's another one. Same type of situation.
Yeah. There's some great kills in this. I think some the highlights for me would be so you got the black glove killer when he's stalking the nanny in the park.
Yes.
That's a great
Yeah, that's a
scene.
takeoff of man, that was before Four Flies. When I think
I was
about
gonna
that
say, yeah,
situation.
that's what I always think of. There, and there's another one or two I think as well that features prominently. I think the Fifth Chord maybe got
Yeah, the
a
Fifth
film
Chord,
in the park
there
as
was a
well.
dude. Yeah, the Fifth Chord, it was that reporter guy that looked like Lucio Fulci a bit, the bigger dude, and he's all walking in the park. There's
Only
that
hiding
scene.
in the bushes or
Yeah,
something.
it's
Yeah,
hiding in the
something like that.
bushes. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So yeah, but it's done extremely well in this. But yeah, like you say, Four Flies has got that very memorable, similar scene actually.
Yeah.
You've got a scene in this as well without giving too much away. Towards the climax, or at the climax, I should say, in an old abandoned building, which reminds me, I think I've said it on me and Dirk's channel. It does remind me a lot of the one scene in Alice, Sweet Alice,
Yes.
where you've got exactly the same setting.
The other
Um,
Giallos, they like doing that. They like putting them in these
like
abandoned buildings.
warehouses or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
these
yeah,
abandoned
yeah,
warehouses and stuff like that. Again, the Fifth Chord, Franco Nero chasing that dude. It's probably one of the best chase scenes you'll ever see in a Giallo. It's great. That
yeah,
shows
yeah.
Franco Nero's prowess and how good he is. And same
Oh
thing with
God,
this one. It's
absolutely.
like because basically, um, the woman that was a witness to his whereabouts comes back, and they interview her first. You find out that yeah, she was the reporter's mistress. I'm like, oh, the
Yeah,
present
yeah,
that was in the box was for her, and which was like a dress, I think, or something like that. I think it was.
yeah, yeah. Just when you think it can't get any more sleazy, it does.
Oh,
It
it
does a
does.
few
I
times.
have to admit, it's kind of interesting where it's like she goes through the situation and stuff like that too, where they're all friendly with each other. She goes, "But I was drunk." She was drunk, and
Yeah, yeah.
she tips over and stuff like that. But then her friend comes over and he happens to have a camera. He's like, "Okay, cool, okay, yeah, I was with them for the rest of the day," and that got him out. And that's when the situation gets really trippy. But before that, the good old shady flipping piece of shit defense lawyer makes moves on the daughter, and the wife
Yeah,
catches
yeah,
them,
that's
and just like that. And it's like she says it right, where she's all like, "Yeah, you like him young and stuff like that too, don't you?" And all this other stuff too. And it's just
exactly.
like
Yeah,
he gets out. They're all like it's that one dinner scene, which is such a trip, or it's lunch actually. And he's like going, "I gotta go." He's like, "I gotta go." I'm like, "Yeah, awkward." It's just like,
very fucking awkward, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
just a
Um,
lot of weird, really interesting things. Sorry, Garen, go ahead.
no, no, no. I think you're summing up the film really well, actually. Um, but yeah, like you say, you've got all the court stuff, and he gets off from the case. I don't know. We're not going to go right through and spoil this right
Yeah,
till
we're
the
not going to
end.
spoil. We're not going to spoil this. I suggest everybody see this. I highly recommend this. I like Giallos like these a lot when they separate themselves from everything else. Don't give me this copy paste shit. I get
Right? Yeah.
tired of that. I really do. This is unique, and like I say, it's from '71. Here we go. It's like it's really good. To your point, where they get to that scene in the warehouse, the daughter's the daughter's cleaning the pool, right? That deep ass
Yeah.
pool in the
Yeah.
shorts and shit, and all this other stuff too. The phone rings. I'll get it. Like she
Right.
was thinking about ready to get it. He gets it. And he's kind of explaining it, what it is, like blackmail or something like that. And I'll
Yeah.
leave it at that. That's where that meeting in the warehouse comes from. So,
Right. Yeah.
a lot of twists and turns here. The police work is done very well. It's 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 like, what have they done to your daughters? It can be heavy on Policio Tessie. It's more Law and Order like thriller, if you want to call it that. Good detective story, but it's definitely a Giallo because you have the glove killer, you have the point of view shots. This is a beautifully made film, in my opinion. The shots of the city
Oh
are done
God.
very
Yeah.
well. The
Yeah.
walking around stuff like that too, and this is when they're experimenting with it. Like I say, Bird with the Crystal Plumage had the template for this stuff. This is a great triple feature with Bird with the Crystal Plumage, the Fifth Chord, and then this guy right here. Each one kind of different, you know. And
Oh yeah, absolutely.
that's just very good.
I think there's the double twist towards the end is fucking superb. So you got two twists that come right at you. You got Tchaikovsky is kind of like that concert kind of piece of music is played throughout.
Yes, yep. It's Tchaikovsky.
That makes it different, you know, than everything else. No, I think there's a lot to like in this. There was actually 3 versions of this film. The Spanish version, which pretty much starts off straight away with the murder in the park. That's now the most complete version. I think that's probably the one we've seen on the Blu-ray, if I'm honest. But yeah, what can you say about this one? I think it's highly kind of underrated. You know, you don't really hear too many people talk about this one, and I think that's maybe because of the kind of scenes, you know, where they're going through the case and the trial. Maybe people didn't like that as much, but I don't know. It just sets it apart for me. I mean, I like it because of that too.
Me too. Real quick trivia on this. Fortunately, I didn't write notes of it. You can sound my sexy voice here, but it was originally going to be an adaptation of an Edgar Wallace story, but they shot that down. Yeah. They shot that down, so which is very interesting. You know, via Gunther Stoll and Wolfgang Price. It's crazy. Like I say, this film is done very well. Where was this filmed at again there, Darren? One more time.
I'm trying to look at the location now. I don't even think I wrote it down. Is it even mentioned the location in this film?
Filming location. So you have Bergamo, Lombardia, Italy. You have Milan. You have Rome, Lazio, Italy. So, like, you know, where a lot of the stuff was filmed.
That was probably the same stage probably was done in Rome.
So release date technically July 7th, 1972. So the anniversary for that's coming up. Yeah, great film. So this gets a solid 8 out of 10 for me. I really like this film. And that's feeling the way that I feel and stuff like that too. If you can engross me and stuff like that too. Just the one thing that kind of puts it off, like I say, the one scene with the couple making love in the car with the fogged out windows where there was a dude in there with her. You know, they do talk to her. There's a great scene in here where they reenact that. Are you sure that you saw that guy? That's right. A twist. That's a really big twist. But yeah, very good. This is a solid 8 out of 10 for me. I like it a lot. It might go up. So what say you?
Yeah, you're probably the same as me, man, on the same length as me. Definitely an 8 out of 10. Possibly an 8.5, but maybe a 9 to come. Every time I see this, I kind of, from start to finish, I'm engrossed. Yeah, and I think people should check it out. I mean, if you've never heard of this, or you can get the Arrow really cheaply in the sales, it usually comes up, doesn't it?
It is on Tubi as well. If y'all live here in the States like I do, Tubi is a great free streaming platform. They have a shitload of Giallos on there. That's where I saw Off Balance for the first, or not Off Balance, Body Count for the first time. Unfortunately, that's probably going to be the only way we're going to get that. I think the film elements are lost from what Mr. Gregory said. So it's unfortunate for that. But like I say, it's on Tubi. You'll find a lot of stuff on Tubi. Like I say, the one that we reviewed, the last Giallo Rex, there's a few of those on there and stuff like that. Just type in a name. Just put in Giallo, those films will pop up, definitely. So it's a great library of stuff. But yeah, like I say, Darren and I definitely agree. And I can't say the original name for this because I suck at it at the moment. Yeah, it's a very good film. Like I say, highly recommend it. Wait for a sale and get it on Arrow. So
yeah,
it'll definitely be worth it. Excuse me. All right. So next up, we have another one. Give me a second to bring this up. But the other one that we're going to be talking about is The Bloodstained Shadow and this is from 1978. Boy, this film. Go ahead and just a quick synopsis on the film, real quick, Darren, and your thoughts on this bad boy.
Yeah, so this starts off with, so you've got this young schoolgirl, and she's kind of strangled, slow
In slow
motion.
motion. I almost thought
Yeah,
something was wrong with the Blu-ray. I'm like, what's going on
right.
here?
It is so effective though, because as she's being murdered, she grabs hold of this kind of like this Bible or this book, and she's ripping the pages out, and that becomes a big clue as to the
Good
killer
scene there where it kind of
later on.
rolls like it's on a hill because it's in like the countryside. You know what I mean? I like that when it's out in the open like that.
Yeah, the whole setting for that opening scene as well. So you've got the big house at the back, and it's kind of recreated in this painting a little bit later on in the film, which comes into play with the whole plot. You've got Stefano, played by Lino Capuccio. Again, I'm butchering that name, I know, but he
Is
goes
that the
back to the
priest?
island.
Oh,
No,
that's
he's the brother. Yeah, he's the brother.
which is interesting about him. Real quick, he's also an actor in one of your favorite Giallos, In the House with the Laughing Windows. I
Absolutely,
didn't
yeah.
know that, and I'm like, he does look familiar. That I've seen him in other stuff. So he
I
does.
do. Yeah, yeah.
It is funny. There's some scenes where they're talking to him because he kind of has a big forehead like myself, but more better hair. They switch it a little bit where they put his hair a bit more down. It's kind of a trip. Maybe when they switch camera angles, he's like, okay, I'm going to fix up my hair a little bit.
Right.
But
Yeah.
he's an interesting cat of an actor in here. Yeah, he's a doctor, right? Or a professor.
He's a professor. I think he's maybe a writer or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, he comes to visit his brother Don Paolo, who's a local priest.
Yeah.
And then they're pretty much having they get together, have this meal, and then he sees this old medium, this female woman medium, and she's being visited by all these dodgy people in the community. You've got the pedophile character, you've got one of the doctors, and they all go to this woman and
You got the
have strange
scamming fortune
seances.
teller.
Yeah,
When they're basically he goes. It's a trip of a film. That's what I like about it. When you could be like, it's kind of a WTF Giallo, where you're like, because it automatically almost starts because he introduces to the people of the town, goes to this bar, this local barkeep, very cool dude. Everyone's all married and all this other stuff too. They sit down and then he starts to describe the people that are in there, the one woman that's behind them. There's the doctor that he mentions. He's accused of doing some stuff.
Oh god, yeah. This one character in this, and one of my favorite actors actually, a guy called Massimo Serrato, and he played the priest in Don't Look Now.
That is him.
Despicable. Okay. Yeah, he plays this despicable character in this who's got a liking for young boys, I should say. But what I like about this as well, and kind of like the Bloodstained Butterfly in a way, so we get the murder of this medium early on, and it's done so well. It's like Argento-like.
It is.
So she's out in the pouring rain and she's getting killed. You got the priest comes to the window.
He wakes up from something because he's laying on whatever like that. He goes like this. He goes out. It's like pouring rain.
It's just done so well with the music, and again the music, which I think me and Chris was on about before we come on. The music was by Stevio Cipriani, but it's actually played like Goblin. And I mean, the first time I heard this, I'm like, shit, that's Goblin. No doubt that's Goblin. And that's what I like about this film is
you can see it's a little bit different because there's organ sounds in this, which I like almost like a gothic type of organ thing and stuff like that.
Oh man,
like Dracula's playing it or something. Yeah,
it's a superb score. I was gonna say it's almost like that's why I like it, because it's like one of the best, I think, Argento knockoff films. But don't take that as a derogatory thing. I think it's a plus for the film. But that whole murder with the medium early on, it kind of throws you off the whole conclusion and everything. So I like that, and it's similar to like Bloodstained Butterfly in that way a little.
You have the you have the groundskeeper as well, which is a good friend of them all, and then his personality is like that. like it kind of switches. It's weird. There's a scene where he sees two certain females walking and stuff like that when he's all, with the kids playing soccer and stuff like that too, which is
Yeah.
kind of funny. And then he's like, oh, like that. I'm like, so it kind of tears you off in another direction there a little bit. But like you say,
God, absolutely. Yeah.
where she gets killed in the rain, and he goes out there, is like, somebody was getting killed out there. We have to go find out. And there's nobody there. And the brother kind of calms him down. It's like, you're probably just seeing things or something like that. And like, let's just go back inside because it's pouring down rain and they're all out there. It's just dousing. Yeah.
The brother Stefano's actually been out walking in the rain, and it's never mentioned why. So we actually think he's kind of a red herring at this point, because he keeps having all these like visions and flashbacks.
Yeah, when he was a kid, which is weird. It's like Peter Bark flipping.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, like that. What's going on here? I really like that. I'm just going to say a quick shout out some people that have joined in chat recently. Hall & Oates was in here. What's going on, my friend? Thanks for dropping by, saying hi. I got Skolder in here. Always cool to see you, Skolder. Thank you very much.
What's up, Holland, man? And what's up, Skolder? Yeah.
But it's like you said, he had these visions, so something happened like that. Because he gets these headaches, he says, and stuff like that. He says, I don't know what happened, like he blocked it out. It has something to do with a painting. Right. Because he's on this boat and he has this conversation with this lady, Juliet Maniel, Nora Nardi, but Juliet, basically, her character, and she's like a painter or whatever like that. Yep.
You're talking about Sandra, I think. Yeah.
Sandra, thank you. Yeah.
Stefania Cassini.
Yeah. They have that conversation at the boat at the start when they're going there, which is a nice conversation. They're all, nice with each other and stuff like that. Then they separate when he meets his brother. You find out that she's staying with her stepmother, who's in a wheelchair in this like Gothic mansion type place where they meet up. And like, oh, hi, hey, what's going on and stuff like that, and invites him in. They go on this date and stuff like that too. And you see these pictures, and you see one in particular where it looks like it's of him. Then you see the devil with the halo next to him. Then you see this thing up here, this villa up here in the mountainside and stuff like that. And it brings back stuff that from his past childhood.
Right. And then obviously this is all linked to the opening scene as well with the murdered schoolgirl. It's just done so well. In terms of so his priest brother keeps getting these messages as well from the killer.
Yeah.
Pretty much saying, I know that you know who I am, and I'm going to kill you at any opportunity, and all these
There's a scene in the church where he's breaking bread, and they have the thing where the bread is at, and was that a lamb's head or something like that in there?
Yeah, the Lamb of God.
Sees the note, he's like, puts it in there, takes the bread out, and just does his business, and it makes me think that wasn't there. That's all in his head. That makes me think that, that was a trip. Like you said, he gets these messages. Did he
plant that Lamb of God himself? You don't know. But that's what I like about this, because the first murder with a medium, there's such a fucking twist involved in that, which is great, which I'm not going to spoil. But like you say, there's so you've got all these people start, in this really bad community with this connected to the seance. They all start getting off one by one. We've got some great kill sequences. The mother in the wheelchair, the stepmother in the wheelchair, she comes to a really sad demise the way she dies.
Oh, that's a great kill in that.
Yeah.
They never did that in Friday the 13th at all. They never did that in any, not a lot of slashers. Only in Giallos it seems to be done well.
It's realistic looking as well. So pretty much she's put into this fire.
The shots are done very well there. Yeah, the different shots there done in the killer is pretty clumsy. Does a couple of scenes where something is dropped where they can hear the killer.
Right. Yeah. going back to some of the like death scenes as well, there's another scene I think is probably the best in the film, in the man in the lake with the boat. And then
Yeah,
you've
the
got
doctor, the good
the two
doctor.
boats
Basically,
come.
the doctor, the priest accused the doctor of being a child molester, I believe.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Being a shady. You have the count or whatever his name is,
Yeah.
where the priest goes over to his house to talk to him and stuff like that. That doesn't go well. He has his male servant there and stuff like that too. It's
That's
like going,
very
I know what
creepy.
you are and stuff like that. You ain't going to stay and come for me. Get away from me.
Yeah, that's
uh,
very creepy because he says to him, "Oh, why don't you stay and comfort me overnight or something?" And
yeah,
he says, "I don't want to work for
he
you."
gets
Pretty
taken
much.
out. That's a good kill too. It's like with uh, a bayonet type weapon, I think it is, or like a spear. He gets taken out like
Yeah, that's superb. Yeah.
pretty badly. Like I say, the doctor is probably the best kill. Like I can spoil that. Basically, the killer comes up behind him. He knows who the person is, gets tossed in the water,
Yeah.
and then it goes on from there, which is a trip of a good kill there.
I mean, he's hanging on to this one boat, and then we see in the distance a speedboat about to come and
Right,
literally just
the killer
fucking.
takes the speedboat. I'm like, looks at him. Oh, there we are, and
Yeah.
he's hanging on and stuff like that too, and just goes rears up and just goes boom like that.
Bang.
I
Yeah.
like that they didn't show a lot of that, just showed it just kind of going off in the distance
Oh
there,
yeah, it's
stuff
more.
like
It's
that.
I'd say it's more effective that way.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
in terms of red herrings, you got the man child as well. You
Yeah,
know,
the woman finds out that she has a kid, I think, and
but she's
yeah,
been
it's
hiding him away because
yeah,
he's
it has
kind
like
of.
this pet mouse or whatever like that that's trying to
Yeah.
get out of the cage. That's trying to get out of the cage. I mean, it's done so well. Takes this doll and stuff like that. Was that doll mean to you? You see that doll?
Yeah.
That's like makes me wonder if Dario got that for Deep Red because there's a doll there that's kind of hanging a little bit. But like she beats up the doll and stuff like that, and then he goes up behind her and just takes it, and stuff like that. Like, oh, it's okay, and all this other stuff too. It's like,
And then that we find, I'm not going to say what it is, but we find out there's a big plot twist with that character as well, the woman.
huge plot twist with that. Yeah.
Yeah, which completely threw me the first time I ever saw this. Um, and I mean, the whole conclusion as well, I just think is superb. I won't say who it is, the killer, but it involves pretty much going up to the top of this building, and you've got the whole dummy death, which I like. Um,
Yeah. You hear
I
the
feel
scream. Ah!
even though it's done badly, it's still good. Like I just
No,
find
it's
the
still good. Yeah,
comedic
then the
value
credits
out of it.
basically roll. It was a good twist there. Um, Basically, the lead character thinks he knows who the killer is. There's a scene in the church, and looks like
Yeah, it's
everything's
great.
all good and stuff like that too. There's a scene where the dude and the lady are talking and stuff like that, and that's after her stepmother dies, and it's just funny where it's like, yeah, I'll get over it, and all the stuff as well. But all in all, yeah, it's done very well. Beginning is good, the ending is good and stuff like that too, and
How
just your
did you
overall.
feel about the time? Because it's just a little bit under 2 hours. Was it too long for you? Because for me, it just plays well. It plays. I mean, that's the length it should be to me. But I know a lot of people online I've seen say it's a little bit too long. But
It plays well. It's just some scenes kind of go kind of past, whatever it is. I
I
almost
think
thought.
I felt like that, yeah, originally. But I don't know. This time I watched it seemed to work out better. Just under
I'll
two
say this:
hours.
the film has two different endings. Like to
It does,
me,
yeah, yeah,
like you mentioned, Darren, like opera has like maybe 3 to 4 different endings. This has two. There's the one ending, and then there's like the director's cut ending, if you really want to go that way, where it gets
yeah,
extended a bit.
yeah.
I love the locations here. It's this little island town where everything is right there. The courtyard with the fountain, the church is right there. It's done very well in my opinion. Just your overall thoughts on the Bloodstained Shadow there, Darren.
Another one highly underrated. I think this is possibly one of my favorite Argento knockoffs. You've got director Antonio Bido. He did Watch Me When I Kill, which is another superb Giallo, which actually I've got to get like Me and Dirk to cover that at some point. But yeah, what can you say? Cinematography was by Mario Volpani, I believe. And he did, funny enough, he did do Castle Freak, which I thought was weird.
Oh,
Um,
nice. Yeah, that's a
did,
Charles Band film.
yeah, which is
Yeah.
strange. But he did do a few Jollies. Obviously, Watch Me When I Kill, Evil Senses, Il Mostro. But yeah, I mean, you could do a lot worse than watching this. I wouldn't say it would be one if you're into if you want to like go into Jolly, I wouldn't play this first. I'd leave it a little while.
Yeah.
I'd obviously start off with one of the big hitters, Argento or Fulci.
Yeah.
But once you get into it and you feel like you do start to like these type of films, and you want a good sort of slow burn, something to get your teeth into, this is the film, I'd say.
Definitely, very good Jolly. Again, this is a solid 8 out of 10 for me. I do like it a lot. These are bangers that were recommended to me. This is in the Forgotten Jolly Volume 6 set from Vinegar Syndrome. You could still get this. Just wait for a sale. They're doing great stuff over there. They're good with Jolly, just like Arrow is. I like this a lot. This is loaded with special features. Vinegar Syndrome is very good at doing that. So you have newly scanned, restored 4K from its 35 millimeter original camera negative. Absolutely, this film looks beautiful on Blu-ray.
It does, yeah. Both of them actually, the first two we mentioned.
Yeah, Beauty in the Darkness. Just interviews with the actors and actresses and stuff like that as well. You have a commentary track with film historian Troy Howarth and Nathaniel Thompson. Troy Howarth also, who you guys are going to have on in one of your future streams, is again as well. Very cool dude. Has great books out. Check those out. Also has a commentary in this one here too. Very cool. Definitely check it out. But yeah, this is a banger. Solid 8 out of 10.
Same for me. I would say 8 out of 10 all day. Yeah, like you say with the Troy Howarth thing, any kind of release that's got anything from Troy Howarth, I highly recommend. The commentary track that Chris just mentioned is superb. The three of those guys just work so well together, Ercolani, Nathaniel Thompson as well. But yeah, I mean, don't sit on those sets. We got a couple more to come, I think, of these Forgotten Jolly sets. I'm hoping they go beyond 10. I've heard that's maybe the number that they may stop at.
The magic number. It depends what they have, because they've already released some from, like you say, Umberto Bava, like you say, like you say, Blade in the Dark, a portrait of Joria, other stuff like that too. 5 Women for the Killer, which is an okay Jolly. It's not the best one in the world. It's one of the
worst, I would say. Yeah. But it's a Giallo and it's still entertaining. We've got another Forgotten Jolly 8, I believe, coming next month, maybe the end of March. I presume they'll probably go on as long as they can, because there's still hundreds of these films. Literally are hundreds of these films. So, and they all seem to sell out, and they all seem to do well, the limited edition. So let's touch wood and long may it continue. But at least I know we got at least 2 or 3 more to come. So I'm looking forward to that.
It's very good. Just give us more, please. I really like all the sets for what they are. Different directors, and that's always good. So yeah, we both agree again. It's definitely a solid 8 out of 10. Quick trivia, I guess, for this. At 28.51, when Camiscio introduces himself to Stefania Cassini, he tells her he is a professor of mathematics. Cassini tells him that her job is to deal with furniture. Cappuccino calls her architect. Actually graduated in architecture at the Polytechnic University in Milan. So yeah, these are educated actors, definitely. Sorry for butchering that a bit.
Part of this was on location in Rome, I believe, and I think the other part obviously is Venice.
Yes.
She comes off as a bit of a bitch at first. because she
He
says to
does.
him, are you following me?" When he's being a nice
She's
guy.
pretty. She's a bland. This was done in 78 too, so we're kind of going away from that. Times are changing a little bit and stuff like that. They do have a lovemaking scene, like real quick there in her.
Oh, she's full frontal as well in that.
Yeah, full
scene.
frontal in this as well.
Yeah.
She's very pretty and stuff like that too. But she is kind of bland for whatever.
I mean,
a little bit, but
it's not his best performance as well. Obviously, Hazel the Laughing Windows is superb,
right,
which is coming by Arrow.
Yes, it is coming by Arrow and stuff like that.
That's made my year. That is.
Arrow might be my boutique label of the year already. Don't Torture a Duckling 4K is coming in March. The Ides of March. Gotta love it. Like you say with that Forgotten Giallo and stuff like that too. So pay attention to March, everybody.
Oh man, you've got Alice, Sweet Alice has just come out by them.
Yes, I have that other release.
yeah, I mean, I don't care. I double dip. We got Torso that come out the end of last year. We got Dress to Kill, Cruising to come. So Arrow's going to be, even though a lot of people saying, oh, do you need the 4Ks of these? And my answer to that is yes.
If you love the films, it's like, then yes. I'm always conflicted with 4K. I agree with those people, but it's like Arrow does a great job on their transfers. They usually do, unless they get it from like somebody else and stuff like that, and they fully admit that and stuff like that. But they do good on their Blu-ray transfers. Like them and Blue Underground are like two of the best at doing that. It's like they're really good. Yeah.
I can see why some people, because I know Dirk's not a big fan of Cruising, which is fair enough. I understand completely. Yeah. And some people, they don't want to kind of pay a little bit more just to have a 4K upgrade. But I believe there may be some new special features on some of these upcoming releases as well. So,
absolutely.
I mean, Dress to Kill is going to be a big one for me. Cruising's a big one as well. But stay tuned on our channel, me and Dirk, because we're going to be doing Alice, Sweet Alice pretty soon as well. So yeah. And highly recommend Torso, the
Mr.
look of
Soul
that on 4K. Yeah,
definitely.
But we got another Giallo show coming up, haven't we? We're going to be covering Eyes of Laura Maz and Cruising.
Yep, going to mention that towards the end of this one too. That's Slasher Stream episode 9. And then we'll mention quickly too towards the end of the stream about episode 10 of Slasher Stream. That's going to be a big one. We're going to plan really big for that one because I got what I needed to get in for those big ones. We're doing a big 3 for that one. But
I mean, I love that franchise.
Yeah. So the Bloodstained Shadow, this is on Tubi as well. It's also on Full Moon streaming service through Prime Video channels and stuff like that. Like I say, Tubi's the place to go. Sometimes if you don't own this, I would wait for a sale. They do great on their box sets like Severin does. Severin and Vinegar Syndrome are very similar with their sets. Severin, I think, was the first to do top loader box sets. I like that idea a lot. It protects them better. They're good, sturdy boxes. But yeah, this is a banger. 8 out of 10. I don't believe it. I really don't believe it. So we got 2 bangers here. So highly recommend it. Definitely check this out. And like Dirk says, man, this will impress me if you don't know who the killer is. And if you give me something different, I'm all for that. And I like films in this genre of what the killer is and stuff like that. So very good. And we got a cool dude that just popped in here. I'm going to say this real quick. That's Johnny Boutique's podcast. What's going on? Mr. Walker is great to see you.
Hey, what's up, man?
Bugging Dirk Sear about that Argento deep cut set from 7 so we can get the stream pop. You got it. No problem. Oh, yeah. He knows what the deal is, definitely.
We just mentioned it earlier,
Johnny. Yeah, I definitely need to check that out. I am saving up to get that, and that'll definitely happen.
There is so much on that release as well. I think
that was like a release of the year. CK really likes that release too. Dirk really likes it. You all love it, so that's good.
Just the Doorway into Darkness alone, I love. So, but I mean, you've got all the documentaries, the TV shows. That's going to be a fun one with Johnny, man. I can't wait for that, and that's coming up pretty soon as well.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, it's going to be very, very cool. And like I said, definitely check these out. Like I say, it's on Tubi. I'll wreck Tubi all day. I'm not a streaming Nazi here. I'm just saying, just do it. It's definitely worth it if you want to sample these. It's great streaming platform to check out, or any other streaming platforms you can think of if you want to check it out for free. Definitely check it out. And the last one we're going to talk about that Darren recommended for me, I just got this in a few months ago, and this was released by Cauldron. Cauldron's an interesting release company, so they're released through Diabolic DVD, Jesse Nielsen's company. I got to hand it to Jesse, man. There's rare people that he runs that company. It's just him. He runs that company. He's the one that puts the special features on here. He's partly responsible. There's other people work behind the scenes. And that's Ruggiero Deodato's great director. May he long rest in peace, of course, of Cannibal Holocaust fame. My favorite film from him, I'm going to say it, is House at the Edge of the Park. I love that film a lot. I think that's his masterpiece. I do think that's his masterpiece of a film. But we're talking about Off Balance, a.k.a. Phantom of Death. Go and talk about this film real quick, Darren.
Right. So massive Deodato fan, as Chris said. I completely with him with House on the Edge of the Park. I'm a massive fan of Cannibal Holocaust. He did do a few other Giallis. There's one called Washing Machine, which I might have a chat. I may have a chat with Chris later to see if he can get hold of a copy to watch. So stay tuned for that. But so yeah, you've got Michael York, you've got Edwidge Finesse, Donald Pleasance, pretty much plays this inspector who's just as fucking mad as Dr. Loomis in a way. Yeah, Michael York, he plays Robert, who's this famous concert pianist again. Early on, there's a kill of a young woman doctor, and the killer's kind of method.
The samurai sword, or with the sword that's in the back. Absolutely, I like the way they do that, because they do the POV shot first, because it shows him playing the piano.
It does, then it shows, it's intercut, isn't it? I think, yeah.
Yeah, intercut in there. She sits down or gets ready to sit down. You see one of the swords is missing. Of course, they don't know. And it's just whatever like that. It's very well. Here's what the original kind of release looks like. Good release by Cauldron. I'm impressed. Kind of bare bones a little bit with special features, but so that's the original kind of cover of Phantom of Death and stuff like that. Shows his deterioration because he has a rare disease, very rare, that children get. There's an interesting scene where he starts to get really sick and he sees a child on the swing and stuff like that. That ain't no kid.
I remember that scene from the trailer. That was in all of the trailers. It's kind of creepy as fuck, really. But there's no kind of there's no mystery to this one because we know pretty much early on who's doing the killing. But it still doesn't take anything away from this film.
I like Michael York. He's a good actor. What else was he in? I've seen him in other stuff. I recognize the voice. He has that evil like villain voice. He's always had that.
He's well known in the UK for like he's in all sorts of like I don't know so much about horror, but he's in a lot of like mainstream kind of UK films and that. You've got Edwidge Finesse, did a ton of films with Sergio Martino, Strange Voice of Mrs. Ward, Your Voice is a Locked Room, Strip New for Your Killer, she did as well. I don't even have to mention
Your Vice.
Really, everyone.
Yeah, Your Vice. But yeah,
oh man,
that was Strip New for Your Killer was the first one I ever saw Edwidge Finesse in. That Arrow release has good special features talking about her.
You wasn't big on that one though, was you? I remember. I think you give it like a 6 out of 10, maybe.
Yeah, it's like okay. It's like almost like a sex comedy a little bit.
I would go back and give it another watch. Because I know that is, and definitely there's a comedy piece right at the end of that film, which is kind of hilarious. Yeah. But in terms of like, so you've got the look of that, without going onto a tangent, you've got the look of the killer is very much like, what have you done to your daughters? With the fucking black helmet. Night School comes to mind as well.
Yes, it does.
Go back
That'll be a future slasher stream. That'll be a future slasher stream, definitely.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. But go back to it and then let me know. Give it.
Oh yeah, I will. Will eventually. I've come to appreciate my favorite film that I've seen her in so far. Like say, Your Vice is great and stuff like that. The Case of the Bloody Iris. That was one of my releases of the year for 2024. She's great. I like her with long hair. That's just me. She's sexy as hell. She's sexy as hell in this too.
I like it with short hair. I like it with long hair.
Good. This release has one of the last interviews with Ruggiero. It's very good. I would definitely check it out. He's a savage in here. He doesn't mince words. Like I say, Cannibal Holocaust is his baby and stuff like that. He talks about his stuff he did previous before that, and then stuff that he did kind of after this. Like he talks, he glazes over stuff like Body Count, which unfortunately we're probably not going to get a release of that anytime soon. I think the elements for that film are gone. That's too bad.
Yeah,
But
it's
you know,
really bad.
he praises Donald Pleasance, and who wouldn't? I watched the dub version of this. It is really funny. It's a good version and stuff like that. Of course, York and Pleasance have their English voices and stuff like that. Then you see the dubbing of the other characters. So it showed how great of an actor Donald Pleasance was. Ruggiero just praised the hell out of him. He's like, he was interesting on set, but when he could turn it on, he could turn it on, right? You know, it's like he just does his own thing. There's a scene where he goes up there. He's like, I'm going to find you, you bastard. I'm going to find you.
Oh
Just the
man,
way he says
yeah.
it. You know, like, I shot him 6 times. You know, it's just like that.
He
I'm going to
comes
find you.
running
I'm
out.
going to find you.
Yeah. He comes running out because the killer's got him on the phone, and then he comes running out the square and he starts shouting, I kill you, I kill you, and all this. I
Kill you, you
fucking get
bastard,
you,
and
you
stuff like that.
bastard.
Yeah.
Oh, it's worth the price alone, just that one scene. And like you say, it's fucking Dr. Loomis. It literally is, Dr.
Dr.
Loomis.
Loomis. Basically, this doctor gets killed while he's playing the piano and stuff like that. This gala event at his place, I believe. It's his girlfriend is there. Edwidge Finish's character is there. She's a modeler or something like that. She runs like a place,
she's like, yeah, like a
clothing place and stuff
fashion
like that.
place. Yeah.
The guy that runs it with her almost thought that was Billy Drago, the way he looked from a distance. And I looked down, like, that can't be him. And I'm like, is
Okay,
that
I
him?
didn't pick up on that.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's her. She looks damn good still. This was 87. She looked damn good. That's his the detective's daughter is there. It's like, yeah, I just investigated a murder. Good blood in here.
Yeah.
Basically, you think maybe she got her head chopped off? No, he just took the sword, put it there. You see blood just gushing out and stuff like that too. The girlfriend is there. His character is there. The boyfriend, one of the other boyfriends, is there. So
Yeah,
you can
you've
kind of
got
see
like the whole thing as well. So we've got this this guy in the martial arts, and he's been teaching, Michael York's character, and I think he's teaching the boyfriend how to use like a sword or whatever, so that there's red flags there as well. And we get like a flashback kind of flashback scenes where he's cutting like an apple off this guy's hand.
right. He's
like,
that's Kempo that they're doing with the wooden sticks. Kempo
yeah.
is very, very cool. It's one of my favorite martial arts. I'm a big anime fan, as you know. Dudes in those anime films use those wooden swords and stuff like that. So it's almost a way of training, but it's very different the way they hold them and stuff. That's funny scenes and stuff like that too, because the girlfriend or whatever is cheating on him with this other dude that's part of that class with the students and stuff like that too.
Right.
So it's very interesting with that, where you see kind of the cast of characters and what's going on here.
And yeah, without spoiling it too much, but the girlfriend kind of gets her comeuppance in a way. But then you've got the whole Edwidge Finesse character. She kind of befriends him. She thinks that he's kind of going to get into a relationship with her. They do end up having sex, and he impregnates her at one point.
Yeah.
But he's got to literally move away because he feels this disease is starting to take over.
Yeah, so it's almost like it's a degenerative disease where one of the doctors mentions it, that it's very rare. Usually children get it. And, and one of the doctors mentions, I met a man who was in his 20s and he looked like he was like 70 and stuff like that. So, and like I say, there's the scene where the girlfriend is cheating on him with this one dude and stuff like that. They just have sex and all this other stuff too. She says, I should go and stuff like that. And he's like, oh, do you have to leave and stuff like that too? Take your hands off of me, blah, blah, blah. She leaves. She wants to reconnect with him. She's on the phone. Like, yo, and yeah, I want to reconnect with you and stuff like that too. I want this to work. She's going to come over. She goes through the place to where he's at, and she sees a shadow of a dude smoking. That's Diodato, by the way, if you did not know.
Yeah.
Who calls the motorcycle, him and his permed hair. He's like going, okay, let's go with that nice pretty lady on the scooter or whatever it is. Okay, let's get ready to go. He mentions that. Diodato mentions that. He's like, yeah, that's me. And stuff like that. And very Argento-like kill where turns, whack, and she goes right through that window. That's a good like slow motion scene and stuff like that too.
It's exactly like the Phenomena Tenebrae. It's completely lifted from that. What's interesting about the story of this, so this was actually the original story to this was what they were going to do with New York Ripper, Fulci. But obviously they went a different direction with New York Ripper with the young girl, you know, in the bed at the end of that.
Also seen from Phenomenon with the chick that gets stabbed through the back of the head with the spear and it goes through the window in front of Jennifer.
Yeah, if you see like a head coming through a window, that's in this. Yeah, like you say, completely ripped off from Argento. But yeah, the whole story was originally the New York Ripper. I love all that stuff as well. You know,
it's like Pleasance goes and sees him and stuff like that too. And York does a good job here. He's like, it's typical Giallo person. He's like, we're going to reconnect and stuff like that. You got to find this killer and all this other stuff. And we know it's him from the start. I mean, the pronounces says it, you know.
I mean, there's a great scene in like an underground car park as well where he's obviously had the one night stand with Edwidge Fenech's character, and someone attacks her, or we know it's him actually that attacks her in this underground car park, but it's so dark.
Yeah, tosses her between the cars because he's starting to change. First off, he goes to where his mom's at. What's Sicily or whatever it is? Where was that at again?
I'm not sure. Yeah,
to stay with them for a month and stuff like that. You know, yeah, just make love. He puts a note there. It's like, I'm going away for a month just to reconnect or whatever like that, but I'll be back. I love you, blah, blah, blah.
That was in Venice as well, wasn't it, I think?
Yeah, Venice. Thank you. Yeah. Go sees her and says, yeah, just going to stay for a while. He does his jog and stuff like that too. And it's kind of like a time skip because nothing else happens. Pleasance's character, the detective, knows that it's him. He knows that it's him. The problem is when Edwidge gets attacked, her character gets attacked, she couldn't see what he looked like, but they got skin from her fingernails. It doesn't match him. It matches an older man. Right. They thought, because the girl that gets killed was the doctor, and the woman that gets killed was from like a 30-year-old. This is from like a 50-year-old, they say. So you see the degeneration and the practical effects and makeup was done by the same person who did Four Flies on Grey Velvet too, I believe.
That's what makes it stand apart, right? So you've got the same killer, like literally in a matter of months, it's like a 30-year-old man, then becomes like a 50-year-old man in a matter of months. It's so unique in that regard, as they can't work out who's doing the killing. Is it a 50-year-old man? Is it a 30-year-old man? But then when it does they do work it out towards the end. I think it's another great like finale as well.
It's a cat and mouse game. He calls him on the phone and stuff like that. He calls him Daddy, almost sounds like, because of his name and stuff like that too. He's like, oh, Daddy, it's like, I'm watching you from here. That's a nice shirt that you're wearing. You look really good on the television. It's like you look really good and stuff like that. There's a scene where he takes his daughter out of the city. And there's a scene too where they're trying to track the killer down in this park. That's done very well.
Man, that is super.
That's done very well.
Yeah.
They round up all these people. There's a scene they round up all these elderly people. The one buddy that he's with and stuff like that. First off, York's character gets this dog, this mutt basically.
Yeah.
Poor dog has like a wide eye and all this other stuff too. He's like, oh yeah, we get old and stuff like that. Interesting conversations. The ending to this was kind of a little bit of a letdown. I expected better.
I didn't. I really liked the ending.
Maybe it was just anticlimactic for me. But it is a Giallo. It does
end abruptly though, doesn't it?
It's a Giallo type of ending where you're like, oh, okay, so that works. Quick things on this film. Ruggiero, like I said, did not mince words about this film. He wanted the woman that was in Weird Science to play the part of Edwidge Finish's character.
Kelly LeBrock, yeah.
Kelly LeBrock. He does praise her and stuff like that. There is that love-making scene. He mentioned that maybe she didn't look in the not the best of shape for her age. He didn't say it like that, but he didn't want to do a fully nude scene between the two. So that's why he did it in the bed, so I can see Kelly LeBrock is hot as hell.
I mean, Finesse, even then, it was hot to me. Like, even now, she's in her 70s, and she's still a good-looking woman for a 70-year-old.
Basically, she gets pregnant, which is funny, where it's like 2 months later and stuff like that, he talks to her on the phone, and he goes, yeah, I'm coming home and stuff like that, too. He's like, I'm pregnant. And stuff like that.
That's a creepy scene when he turns up at the house and she thinks this is the old man.
It's almost like a Hunchback of Notre Dame type of
scene. She kind of like begins to kindly work out.
Like I said, he taunts the cops where they're trying to find him. He goes up to the female police officer's car because the dude's like, I'm going to go check things out and stuff like that too. He turns up, basically puts a knife up to her and basically, get me Detective so-and-so. He goes, call for him, right? I'm like, oh, that's really good. He's a good actor. Like I say, Ruggiero, great director. God bless him. He's probably one of the better looking ones out of all of them, next to Sergio Martino, considering his age at the time. Yeah, the ending, like I say, was like a little bit anticlimactic. The music is very good in here. I like it a lot. I do like the scenes that they do. I like the whole scenes in the park. I do really like that a lot. The kills are done very well, in my opinion. Pretty brutal. Of course, that only Deodato could do in a film like this.
Yeah, the score was Pino Donaggio, which it's not like as good as his, really famous works, but it's decent enough. It's kind of unmemorable in places, but it does the job for like an 80s kind of Giallo, because this was a late end, Giallo film. Yeah, I just think this is another one. It's not. I wouldn't put it as a top tier. I'd kind of put it as a middle tier one.
Yes.
But you've got to see The Washing Machine, man, if you want to see a fucking off the wall Deodato Giallo film.
Yeah, off the wall.
I'm gonna see if you can maybe get that through streaming or something at one point.
Like I said, the special features on this Blu-ray, real quick. Like I say, it's like an uncommon director, an interview with Ruggiero Deodato, one of the final interviews with the controversial director, filmed in July of 2022. Audio commentary with the film historian, the same kind of too, like in the other Vinegar Syndrome release. But Troy Haworth is part of this one as well. Like I say, Michael York, Edwidge Finish, Donald Pleasance, really good. It's a good one. They wanted another director for this one as well, I think, before, or I think he mentions another film that he wanted another director for, or something like that too, but they chose him to kind of do this. The interview with Deodato is worth it for this release alone. I think it's still like $20 on Amazon if you want to get it on there. That's how much I got it for. It's a good release. It's a fun one. It's
worth that, I'd say, definitely.
Yeah, I give it. This is the weakest out of all the ones we reviewed, so I'm giving this a 7 out of 10.
Again, I'm exactly the same. 7 out of 10. It's like a solid, if unspectacular kind of Giallo. What I like about it is it's definitely out there. There's nothing like this with that progeria kind of disease, and it kind of makes this really unique.
It's only something that Ruggiero could have done. I see the difference. There's a style each one of these directors does, and you can tell that it was him.
Yeah.
Body count's the same thing. I love that slasher a lot. A lot of people don't. I do, but because of the style, like says, oh, it's Ruggiero Deodato. Okay,
I'm kind of in the middle with body count because I love all the music. I love the look of the Shaman Killer.
Yeah,
but you've got David Hess, who's kind of wasted, and Mimsy Farmer. They don't really put in good performances.
Yeah, they just don't put like anything.
But as a Friday the 13th knockoff, it's pretty.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Like I say, Edwidge Finish is good in here, but she's pretty robotic in here. There's a few robotic.
It's not her best performance, no.
Basically, Michael York and Donald Pleasance are the standouts in here. rest in peace to late great Donald Pleasance. What a great actor. He's highly missed and stuff like that too. But all in all, like I say, good film. So I'll say like a mid 7 out of 10. But yeah, it's like middle tier for me too, Giallo wise. I thought more it'd be more of like a slasher thing because that's the way it was kind of going. I thought maybe it'd be more fast paced, but I was happy with it definitely. So
good.
yeah, it's a good one.
That's the aim, to get 3 films that you like, which I've done, thank God.
So yeah, so basically a ranking of these 3 right here. I'll just say it. Basically, it's the order that we did them. Basically, the Bloodstained Butterfly is definitely number 1. I would recommend this to everybody. We gave this one a solid 8 out of 10. This is a really good one. This is probably top 20 Giallo all time, maybe top 15.
Okay, yeah.
Then, of course, the Bloodstained Shadows. This was a pleasant surprise for me. Like I say, not going to spoil the ending to this. I like the genre of these Giallos, considering who the killer is. I've always liked that in these films and stuff like that, considering my, my orientation and stuff like that too. So definitely this would be second. And yeah, this one's third. It's Ruggiero Deodato. It's a fun one. It's a turn your brain off type of one. Just in that vein of these Giallos that were released in the 80s that the later 80s, like, Dario Argento did and all these other stuff too, Sergio, and like say, yeah, add Deodato to that list. So yeah, Off Balance. So
I think Johnny would actually like Off Balance. I'll be surprised if he didn't like it from what I've seen of his streams and that. I would probably flip the first 2. I'd probably put Bloodstained Shadow as number 1, but there's not much in it. I'd put Bloodstained Butterfly number 2, and then Deodato's third. Then.
Yeah, Johnny agrees with me. Yeah, because we talked about it. He's talked about it in streams before, so we all kind of agree on that. That's a great 7 release. That's my favorite 7 release. That has to be my favorite 7 release. That's a great release.
That film for me is in my top 10 all time, and I've got Cannibal Holocaust in there as well. So 2 of Deodato's films in my top 10 of all time.
That's my favorite David Hess performance. I think he's better in that than he is at Last House on the Left. That's a hot take to a lot of people. That's a hot take to a lot of people, but I do like him in House at the Edge of the Park. I think he's more serious in that.
I was going to mention, we got to mention Giovanni Lamberto Radici is also in Phantom of Death. And he plays like a priest. So yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He's a cameo, but yeah.
Oh, that's right. The cameo. Yeah. So there's a cameo in here. It says where I've killed people and stuff like that. And he's like, I remember when we were children and stuff like that too. Just goes off the wall. That's when he goes back. So there's a real quick on that. He goes back to where his mom's at, the country where his mom's at and stuff like that. And he hooks up with this prostitute who was his like first, I think, back in the day, because he was a ladies' man. Donald Pleasance's character mentions that it seems every woman that he's been with seems to have ended up getting killed and stuff like that. Edwidge Fenech takes it like a champion here. She'd make a good final girl. She's done it before.
Oh yeah,
she'd make a good final girl here. That like kind of toss between the 2 cars and stuff like that. They probably used a stunt double or something for that. But
there's a similar scene in Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward where she's in an underground car park as well. But the part with that prostitute as well, when she kind of mocks him as well because she thinks he's old, and that's a great scene too.
Yeah, it's good to see everybody in here. Just checking this out kind of late. I know it's just like in the middle of the work week and all this good stuff, different time zones and stuff. People are just getting off of work. And I'd like to thank you all. Like I say, check out the replay. If you could please go ahead and hit that like too. It helps the algorithm a lot. I want to get these streams more out there. In the comments too, if you're watching the replay, give us suggestions on what you'd like to see. I'll do a post up on what you'd like to see more streams of, what you'd like to see me and Darren do more. Definitely check out his channel at Subjective Perspective Collective. Him and Dirk, the Double D, man, they're doing great stuff. The Eurocrypt with Dead Pit. I put their link in the info bar as well. Great community, great people, man. Check them out, man. They've watched more films than I have, and I'd like to thank them for their introduction to me in this awesome genre of film. For them, because of these great people, I would never checked out House at the Edge of the Park. I would never checked out these bad boys at all. These would not have been on my radar. It's just so cool and so blessed to be able to have these. Physical media matters. I'll keep on pressing that till the day I die. Physical media matters. It just does. All these people saying it's dying. No, it doesn't. This is preservation, man. These are great films. Definitely check it all out. Like I say, a lot of these are on Tubi, so I definitely check this out.
We got we're doing something next week as well on Dead End Driving on the Visited by Voices network. So if people can go over there and check them out as well and subscribe and all that good stuff. Chris, I have got a list of films that we could do for the next Giallo Rex. Do you want me to go through a few of them? And
yeah, go right ahead.
We can see which ones you've seen and which ones you haven't, and then I'll
sure, kind of perfect. Yeah, go and name them off.
I'll whittle it down. Okay, yeah. I'll whittle it down to 3 then. Have you seen All the Colors of the Dark?
I have not. I have that one. That's Sergio Martino, right? Yeah.
That's a definite then.
Yeah, that's Ed.
What about Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward? Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't seen that one. That's the other one I have from Severance. So it's 2 Sergios. So we're going on a good track here with Sergio Martino.
I think you've seen Suspicious Case of a Minor, have you?
The Suspicious Death of a Minor? Yes.
Okay, so oh shit, because I wanted to do Free Martino.
Right.
Let me think. I've got a few, but I'm trying to think if something can go similar. Have you seen My Dear Killer?
My Dear Killer.
It's in one of those Forgotten Jolly sets. I think you might have, but I'm not sure.
If it's in one of the earlier volumes, then I probably have.
Yeah, I think you may
have. Caught up on
them. What about Knife of Ice? Oh, no, you've seen that one, haven't you?
No, I've not seen Knife of Ice. That's Carol Baker, right? Yeah, so we can do Knife of Ice. Cool, perfect. Yeah, that's part of that. That might still be available on Severin. That is the Lindsay Baker set.
You can still get it. Yeah, you can still get it.
Yeah, I would highly recommend their box set. So yeah, we got 3 there.
Oh shit, that's a good 3 as well.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely check out their stuff. What are you doing? Next Hour to Kill or next stream with Dirk there, Darren? Just tell people about that.
So this has been something in the pipeline for a while. We're going to be doing The Shining. And we're going to be literally just going through every single aspect of the film, behind the scenes. Dirk's favorite film as well. So, yeah, we expect a long one for that. I think it could be like a 2.5, 3 hour show.
Kind of like our Dario Argento stream that we did a while back and stuff like that. That's always fun talking about your favorite film. That should be a good one. I'm definitely gonna check that out too. You have another one coming up with Troy Howarth on there as well for a future stream. Well, right?
That's going to be all about Claes Kinski. Howarth wrote the book, so that's going to be another good one. We got the one with Johnny with Deep Cuts coming up as well. There's quite a lot in the pipeline. Like I say, the Dead End Driving next week. We're doing Vice Squad and The Italian Connection, a couple of like crime films. So yeah,
Vice Squad. I still need to check that out. I have a link to that film.
I've not seen it yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing that in time.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, just expect future content. As you can tell by the sound of my voice, I have a sinus infection. I've been coughing a bit. That's why you see my mute a lot. I do apologize for that. My eyes get watery, but I'm getting better. I feel better. I've been starting to eat, and that's what matters. Next slasher stream, so we're changing it up a bit. So slasher stream episode 9, we're talking about some American Giallo-esque slashers here. First up is one I've seen before, and I can't wait to talk about this one, and that's The Eyes of Laura Mars. Now, this was co-produced by John Carpenter, and it also Irvin Kershner was the director. Who's Irvin Kershner? He's the director of The Empire Strikes Back. This is a very good one, so we're going to be talking about this one here. Faye Dunaway and Tommy Lee Jones. Next up,
New York City set.
New York City, yeah. Renee Bargenois is also in that one, and Brad Dourif is also in that one. And one I have not seen yet, I haven't even opened up this Blu-ray yet, and Darren wants to talk about it. I'm like, why not? That's Al Pacino in William Friedkin's Cruising, which is based off a true story. So, yeah. This is definitely going to be a good one to talk about in Slasher Stream. So changing it up a little bit for episode 9. Episode 10 is going to be a big one. So, 10 episodes through. So we're going to start that on, so basically the very early summer slashback train. So we're talking about the trilogy of the Sleepaway Camp films. So I finally got Sleepaway Camp 2 and Sleepaway Camp 3 in from Sandpiper Pictures, which I think is the second coming of all the films. Really. So I can't wait. I've seen the first one. I can't wait to check out the other two. And that's going to be a big one. And yeah, Darren, that's going to be a fun one for us to talk about as well.
I might surprise you with that one in terms of where I rank those films. That's
very
all
cool.
I'll say with that. But, yeah, and look, 2 and 3 have always been my favorite films for a long time, slasher wise anyway. So that should be, that'd be a good one.
Yeah, and then Giallo Rex in the future, of course, maybe probably sometime next month or kind of later on. So expect that one. We have stuff coming up on serial killers off the blade. We're going to be talking about 2 Ted Bundy films. We're going to be talking about the one on Netflix starring Zac Efron, which is a pretty good one. That's probably his best performance. Then we're going to talk about my favorite Ted Bundy film, and that is the Deliberate Stranger with Mark Harmon playing Ted Bundy. That's probably the best interpretation of Bundy I've ever seen from an actor.
The pack. Yeah.
I remember watching that film as a kid. It was a TV film, so it is long. It's so worth it. It's a great film because that was one of the first ones done quite a few years after he was still alive and still in prison. He was executed in 89. That was done like 86 or something like that, I believe.
It was, 86. Yeah.
Yeah, Electric Chair. So expect that. Expect more off the blade type stuff, just fun stuff on here. When I get my voice back and stuff, I'm going to do my thoughts on. I'm basically just my thoughts on all the films in my collection. So it's basically review stuff. Expect that. I'm just trying to get better so I can give you all more content. I thank everybody for the support. I know I've let you all down in the past. I'm going to try to up that a bit and stuff like that. No more BS on here. I just do this for fun. And this was definitely a fun one with Darren. These are great films to check out. Like I say, a lot of these are on Tubi. And we'll see you all in the next one. I am Chris C., the film nerd. I'm not changing that. I promise. It's staying this way. That is Darren from Subjective Perspective Collective. I have their links in the info bar, links to deadpit.com. Definitely check them out. Become a patron, man. Just do it. Have some fun with it. Check out all that stuff. And we'll see you on the next one. As Pug says, I'll see you all in Disneyland. If you're in Italy, ladies, don't go out in the dark. The Black Glove Killer is out there. You got the blade. Be very, very careful.
Have a good one, guys.